It's technically not my meeting. I'm just visiting here. I'll do a record.
Recording in progress.
Good. Okay.
Go ahead.
Pull that down. Okay. Thought I saw Sid here, but he disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he's going to come back.
I think he was having some troubles in his setup, and so he dropped out and probably is trying to do something else.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
Okay. Good. Now I've been using most of my stuff for scanning because of the an inability for the brother apps to work properly on Windows 11. I ended up moving my scanning duties to NAPS2, which will scan to PostScript, and it'll actually interface to our Canon printer copier at church. And that has a sheet feeder that has double-sided with one pass. And it's able to do that too. Whereas
nice.
some of the original stuff I was trying to use with the Windows tools, they just did not understand. It could, oh, now take all of your stuff and turn it around and we'll scan the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't
That's nice to have a duplex scanner.
Oh, yeah.
Except
I mean, I don't have a duplex here. I've sort of worked around it. I have an old brother device.
They're fine as long as the rollers don't wear out with age.
I've been fortunate because I bought that thing 12 years ago and it's still working okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really, I wasn't intending on buying. I thought, oh, I better get a new printer just in case I need our new scanner because my scanner that I was using was deteriorating. The light was going and I didn't think I could get a new light for it. So I just said, oh, we'll get a whole new scanner and such. So I'm looking around for scanners and I'm trying to remember if I was if my arm was still in the sling because I had the surgery or not, or I was right before I did it. Anyhow, I found this thing at Office Depot on the end of an aisle, and it said, clearance, and it had like $109. No manuals, no discs, no discount or something, or no manuals. It said, and I said, do you have the discs for it so I can install it? And they said, no, but I'll give you another $10 off. So it's a 17-inch bed, which is what I wanted, 11 by 17 bed. So it can print 11 by 17 and it can scan 11 by 17.
Ooh.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that my need to scan has gotten small. Mostly I scan, like if I go shopping and I buy something important and I know that I want to keep the receipt,
Mm-hmm.
I scan the receipt. And I scan invoices that I've paid. But I do that with my phone, actually. And I've been up until now using a program called Microsoft Lens, which is a really good scanning app. And I read in the news last week that Microsoft is shutting it down.
Oh, yeah.
And
you can use Copilot now.
You can use Paint.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Well, offhand, Microsoft is folding GitHub into Microsoft, and the CEO has resigned. But
yeah, I saw in the news that he's gone.
But it may take up to a year before they figure out all the ramifications of the folding in. They owned it since I think 2018 or 2019. Anyhow, but they left it pretty much open for independent development. Now that it's part of Microsoft inside, controlled by the AI development group, which only was created in January of this year, Nobody knows how that's going to all work out.
Yeah,
I
I'm very disappointed. I do a lot of work on GitHub. I have several programs that I use from there, and you can post bug reports and download software, and I would miss it if it didn't wasn't independent anymore.
Well, there's other ones like GitLab and about 3 or 4 others I've heard about.
Okay, Bob
Yeah.
raised his hand.
the vast majority of those who are upset with Microsoft already were fleeing from GitHub to GitLab a long time ago. I belong to a Linux user group, and there's somebody who has a site at GitLab, and he does the entire group agenda and everything else. It's a dynamic markdown document, and he's very satisfied with his relationship with GitLab. It seems to be very friendly to open source and not affiliated with any of the big tech companies
Mm.
at the moment.
Okay, Sid, you raised your hand.
Okay, I need help. My internet is I just got back from the Mississippi River so before I got here, I left early this morning to sail on the Mississippi. Anyway, my internet went out today. You use the automated Xfinity app, which doesn't help much. And they auto generated an appointment for me for tomorrow. Anyway, now I was trying to get on here. So I'm trying to hotspot to the iPhone. And I can hotspot just fine to the tablet here, which is what I'm on now. But the Windows machine, it sees iPhone, but it says I can't connect to that device.
It's
Uh,
probably treating it as an unsecure device.
do you have a hotspot feature in your cellular plan?
Yes, I have unlimited hotspot, Verizon.
What I've used in the past is a thing called PDA Net on my Android, which uses a USB dongle. And there's like 1 or 2 steps where you launch PDA Net, plug it into your laptop, and then enable it. And then it makes the connection. And that's been what I've used in the past. I haven't tried to use the hotspot feature, at least not on Windows 11 yet.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
know there's a
getting-
lot of stuff that's turned off in Windows 11 by default. I mean, you can't even ping devices without changing the firewall settings.
Yeah, no, I know. I noticed that there's a maximize compatibility toggle on the iPhone under the hotspot feature.
Well, the other
And
thing, Sid, and Ed touched upon it. You can't do anything in 11 without probably needing to change a setting in the firewall, and that's not a joke. And it could be the firewall is blocking some of the features.
Well, I don't see how that would block a Wi-Fi signal that's coming out of the adapter.
Well, you did allow on the iPhone, allow others to join on, right? Yes.
correct.
So,
Okay.
you're not even getting to the point where you can put in your you can click on the name of this SSID and put in your password and say it's connected now.
That's a
You
great
can't
question.
even. Can you get that far?
I did get that. Once I turned the toggle on for maximum compatibility, then I got the ability to do that on the PC. But when I
Okay.
entered the key, it says I can't connect to that device after I entered it.
You might have to manually select WPA2 if that's what you're using on your iPhone,
Yeah.
WPA3.
The problem may not be Windows 11. It may be some setting on the iPhone.
Yeah.
Or on your network, or whatever network you're trying to set up. Again, that would probably
Yeah.
be the iPhone.
Yeah,
Also
right
11's
now there-
network on 11's network Wi-Fi settings. He has to be on WPA 2/3.
Yeah.
And odds are your phone, unless it's very new, does not support 3, but it will support 2.
Yeah, it's an iPhone 13.
Yeah, you're only going to have WPA2 personal.
Yeah. Did you manually tell it to do that when you were connecting by any chance or no?
Did I tell it to do what?
What kind of security to use, or I don't know, to even ask you?
No,
It didn't ask
no,
you.
it doesn't ask.
Okay.
It doesn't ask that. What's weird is, of course, Apple to Apple is nothing. I mean, it pops up on the iPad instantly and says, "Do you want to connect to it?" And it just immediately does. But
Well, you
obviously,
can, on the Windows 11 side, to get directly to the network connection screen, that is by running a name called ncpa.cpl. That's the one that'll actually get you to the network connection screen. And you'll have your Bluetooth, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi. And then you could try and connect, disconnect, and actually do other connection things in there. That's the original one that you would see on Windows 10.
which brings up the question for Apple people. Part of what it says on the personal hotspot feature is connecting via Wi-Fi, via Bluetooth, or via USB.
Well, I just asked Copilot, and it's about the iPhone, and it says that if you go into settings, cellular, personal hotspot, um, make sure that you allow others to join. There's a feature called allow
Yeah.
others to join, and it needs to be turned
It's
on.
on.
Yeah, he's
It
got
is
that
on.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, it allow others to join is on. The only other option to switch is there's a thing called maximize compatibility, which you can toggle off and on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could see the SSID broadcast from the iPhone, or was it a hidden network
Oh.
on your Windows 11?
Yeah, and it says here that the device compatibility is because of the WPA2 encryption used by the iPhone.
Oh, I hope they didn't do something non-standard.
They did.
What do you do? A different size key?
I don't know the details, but it's a lot easier to connect Android to Windows than
Yeah.
iPhone. And one of the reasons is iPhone security setup.
Okay. You may
I
have to
don't
run
know the
unsecure,
details.
Sid.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Bob, he said he's on an Android 15.
No,
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 iPhone
no,
15.
iPhone.
Okay,
iPhone
iPhone
13.
13.
13?
iPhone 13.
Yeah,
And
Hmm.
WPA2 there might be a bit weird.
yeah. My Pixel phone battery died during the day today, so it's sitting dead right now. There's no battery left. So I couldn't do anything with the Android phone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
On Android, I use an app called NetShare, which is in the Google Play App Store, and that bypasses the carrier's hotspot. And like my carrier is Verizon, but I'm a subsidiary called Visible, and they throttle the hotspot down to very small speed. And NetShare gives me the full bandwidth of the phone.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm on Visible, but I have Visible Plus, it's called, which is
So do I.
Well, Visible Plus gets you top tier Verizon, so there's
Ye-
no throttling with that one.
Yeah. Well, what happens is I can connect to, I have the same plan you have. I can connect to the Verizon ultra wideband. And if I run a speed test on the phone, I can get 300, 400 megabytes down. But if I connect it to my laptop as a hotspot, using the phone's hotspot, it throttles it down to about 4 or 5 megabits per second.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not enough to run Zoom.
Because I'm not connecting to it.
Yeah, if it's not connecting, then it's a handshake issue. usually on that WPA2 handshake, and making sure now it had a password on it. You made sure that it was the same password that you had to type into it, correct? Yes.
I'm not going to say yes to that. The
Okay.
password they define is 16 random characters, upper, lower, and it's small print, and my vision isn't what it used to be. So I'm not going to guarantee that it's exact.
Okay, it could be bad user on device. Yes, it could.
Well, on your iPhone, you can use the zooming feature to read those a little bit easier.
Yeah, I tried to do the Zoom thing, but it won't work on settings pages, evidently.
Ah,
Yeah.
got a flaw.
You don't have any of your neighbors have Wi-Fi that leads into your place, do you?
Have you tried USB tethering?
No, that's what I said. It said it said Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or USB, and I was wondering about if I hook a USB cable from the phone into the notebook, if that might be a way.
Yeah.
It may need to download the app through the phone to be able to fully set it up on the laptop.
Well, I know that I've done that on my computer. And when I plug the cable into the phone and I turn on tethering, and when I plug the cable into the laptop, Windows actually treats it like a network adapter. It thinks I'm connected. It thinks I'm a regular network adapter. And it doesn't ask you any questions at all.
I will when we're done talking, I'll give that a try and see what happens with it. I happen to have a USB-C to Lightning, and this notebook has a C port, so I'll just try connecting to that and see what happens.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Drew.
Other questions? Dennis, you got this pensive look on your face. Unmute. Still muted. There you go.
I was looking at this Apple discussion, Apple thread about Sid's problem. I'll post it in the, I don't know if it has the answer. A bunch of people suggest things, but I don't know if it has the answer in it. I'll just post it. Sid, you can look at it when you have a chance.
Well, recently we had a bunch of storms go through here, and I was not immune to those on Sunday, Saturday night and Sunday. I think it basically failed sometime around 8:37 p.m. on Saturday. And I was able to fire up my generator and still had my Wi-Fi connection and cable modem were still working while they were connected to my APC back UPS. So I still had that running until it would, so many hours in it turns off too. But I managed to run cables to everything inside the house that I wanted to try and run, which included the refrigerator, the mini fridge, the chest freezer, also trying to connect in the TV set, the cable box, and the UPS in that room. So I had that powered on, so I at least had Wi-Fi, and the cable was up and running too for, hours so far. And then finally, we still had connection for most of the evening, but finally the batteries must have died at the Xfinity plant where it was still supplying power, because then Xfinity went down and announced that, oh, your Xfinity services just died. And I wasn't going to try and connect everything up through my Verizon connection. I just said, yeah, that's close enough. I had to run my alarm system because the alarm system battery started to deteriorate too. So plug him in as well. Okay, got all this stuff plugged in. Got to remember to switch it back. And I even went so far as I was because I pumped the water out of the ground myself. I used a 220-volt cheater cord to power the well pump for a while so I could charge it back up again. And then I have 26 gallons until it needs to turn on again. But I was without power for 12 hours, so a little over 12 hours. But I noticed that, like I said, Xfinity went down too. So they have some stuff that will run on batteries for about 12 hours before it dies. And then once they die, and it wasn't a small outage. According to Ting, it was me and 546 of my closest friends. We're all part of the same outage. But on either side of me, on phases beta and alpha, they were working. I'm on phase Charlie, so Charlie phase lost it. We had a tree branch that took us down. Of course, it was interesting seeing the lights flicker for a couple seconds before it went down dead. Okay, Sid.
Yeah. So I plugged in the USB cable, but it's not, it doesn't seem to be even noticing it. And when I look in the
You have to make sure
settings-
you turn on tethering on the phone.
Yeah, is that the same as personal hotspot on the phone?
No,
Or is that
tethering
No,
is a different thing. Tethering is a different option because you're telling the USB port can now accept it's no longer a charging port, but it's a tethering port.
That's your USB.
It's on the
That's your
USB
USB
setting.
option.
Yeah.
On the phone, you had 3 options. You need to use the USB option.
Yeah, I don't see that here. I have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, personal hotspot, and battery.
Okay.
I don't see a tethering option at all.
Hold on, let's do
And you
this.
don't see USB cable option. USB
No.
connect.
No. I don't.
Does anybody else have an iPhone they can look at?
So enable personal hotspot in settings, connect it to your computer with the USB cable, and then it may recognize it.
That's how I'm set now.
Settings, cellular, personal hotspot.
Right, and allow others to join is on.
Well, allow others to join won't apply because that's the Wi-Fi.
I think so.
When you're plugged into the cable, I know that on my Android phone, the Wi-Fi hotspot and USB tethering are 2 separate settings.
Yeah.
I don't see that. And because what it says on the phone is plug iPhone into your computer. 2, choose iPhone from the list of network services in your settings. And I don't know where that would be under Windows 11. List of network services in settings.
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't used an iPhone. The closest I've come to a Mac of any Apple technology is I have a customer of mine that I'm waiting for them to tell me to come over. They have an old Mac OS computer that doesn't boot up right anymore. And I'm going to boot it into Linux if I can and see if I can read the data on the drive.
Well, as long as they
As I
haven't
said,
used...
the whole thing with, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying the only thing about Apple stuff is great to talk to other Apple stuff. Their ecosystem, this all just works. I mean, it's like adding the air tags I added. You just tap it on the phone and it's done. It's
Yeah,
added.
yeah.
Well, then how
They have
come
a
they're
great.
not on a MacBook or a Mac Air or a MacBook Pro?
Yeah, but I don't have one of those. So
Why not? You're
I'm
saying
You have
how
looking at
everything else, Sid.
You're
Yeah.
saying how great Apple stuff is.
I,
Then I would think you would want the Apple stuff, not PCs.
I did
Yeah.
not say that. I said it's cool.
You
I said
implied
it
it.
was cool the
Yeah.
way Apple stuff connects to Apple stuff.
You
That's what I
implied it.
said.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
on your iPhone,
Yeah.
when you plugged in the cable,
Yeah.
did you get any prompts?
No.
Because you should get a prompt where you could tap trust.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Yeah. No, I got nothing.
Try having the cable plugged into the computer first, and then plug the other end into the phone and see if it pops up a message.
Yeah. I tried both directions, but I'll give it one more shot here. All right.
One other suggestion.
Yeah.
There is an Apple Devices app in the Microsoft Store.
Okay.
That's all I found.
Okay. In other words, I think Windows needs some added capability.
It doesn't for Android.
No, this is for Apple.
Yeah.
This is for iPhone. I have known for a long time there were some problems between Windows and iPhone that are not present with Android.
Interesting.
People talk about the cable. You've got the lightning. That's fine.
Sid went bye-bye.
Yeah, he's trying something else, I think.
He may be trying the app.
Yeah, he might be. Yes.
If he never comes back, it's my bad.
I know. Yeah. So, like I said, with the internet being out, at least initially when we had power failure, we didn't have the internet out. But I know that there was even more outages west and south of me. So all through Palatine was where most of the stuff was out, and I noticed that at our church, I guess we lost one of our three phases. And I got a video from the pastor showing her the lights showing the lights in our office, and the fluorescent lights were blinking like a Christmas tree set, like, oh no, I wonder what that's going to do to everything. And of course, they were without power or without that third phase for at least 15 hours. And then, of course, I get calls. How come the elevator's not working? How come the air conditioning's not working? Well, you need 3 out of 3. 2 out of 3 don't make it.
At least on those devices.
Well, especially if the nice thing about 3-phase motors and such, they are much smaller than a single-phase motor.
True.
Ooh, I have a question for you.
Sure.
It says here from Copilot that Windows uses Apple drivers from the iTunes app for tethering. Do you have the iTunes app installed on your Windows 11?
I don't know if he does. He might. I know he has iTunes.
Present right now.
Yeah.
Sid is Sid present again?
No,
Because he
Not yet.
logged out.
not yet.
Sid is still out. Yes. But if it can get the drivers through the iPhone, I don't know. That's kind of funky anyway. It's a USB interface. Why does it need a special driver?
It says even if you don't use even if you don't use iTunes, Windows uses drivers from iTunes for the tethering.
That may be folded into the store app now. They have been putting, where they need extra drivers, they've been putting them into store apps lately for Windows 11. And this may be such a case. If we're lucky, we'll get Sid back and he'll tell us.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know how the rest of you have been. I've been rather busy the last 3 weeks or so. My significant other happened to take a spill outside on a wooden ramp that goes between one section of our garden and the other. And she didn't see anything at the time. Her leg swelled up a little bit, and we went to immediate care the next day and had some x-rays taken, and nothing was showing there that they could determine, and it was interpreted by our local orthopedic, and he said it didn't see anything on it. And we decided to go to Michigan for several days. I had an Airbnb with my daughter and her family. The last day we were there, she could not walk on that leg. So we went the following Monday to the local orthopedic guy, and he took some x-rays there. They couldn't see, but they suspected there was something. So we want you to go get a CAT scan stat. So we went to the hospital and got her CAT scan and said, you got 2 fractures. You got one up where the hip rod goes into the bone, and another one under your kneecap. One under the kneecap, I'm not worried so much about, but the one on your hip means you only got 3 options. Option 1, hip surgery, put a longer rod in. Option 2, go in laparoscopically and put some cinch ties to hold the rod and the bone together. That usually doesn't work. Option 3, and I had never heard of this term before, toe touch only. Means no weight on the leg. So I quickly obtained a wheelchair for her to get around in the house, but I had no way of getting her in and out of the house since everything has at least 1 or 2 steps of at least 15 inches. And although I have done this before when I had to move my mom in and out of her house, I was much younger and had a lot more muscles then. But
is this condition temporary or permanent?
It's a temporary condition as long as she stays off of it. She's been off of it now for 3 weeks since we saw the doctor. And he says, make it the full either 2 weeks more or 4 weeks more. We're going to do the 4 weeks more. And he was happy with what he saw after 2 weeks. But in order to get her to the doctor and some other stuff, I had to build a ramp in the garage. So I have constructed a wheelchair compatible ramp in my garage. Unfortunately, it's not quite regulation length. If you want to be regulation length for 15 inches of drop, it should be 15 feet long.
Yeah.
Nope, this one is not. This is about 9. So it means I still need muscles, and I back her down when I take her out and push her back up the reverse way, and we haven't fallen off yet. I have edges on it, so she can't go over the edge. So got that done. But then in conjunction with that, we also had to rent chair lifts to get to the 2nd floor and put a wheelchair upstairs. So I have 2 wheelchairs, one upstairs, one downstairs. And the chairlift people, they took about another week before they could actually install it. And because these are rentals, it's not one chairlift that goes around the platform, but it's 2 separate chairlifts. So she's got to transfer at the platform from one to the other. But they don't make custom spots for people that are renting. If I buy it, well, that would be a different thing, but that could add 4 weeks while they fabricate the turn on it. And I didn't want to take that time.
Well, anyway, good for you for trying.
Yeah, so we got that so she can go up and down. And another thing that I found is how Amazon lies with its installation videos. I had to replace the wheelchair tires on this wheelchair that my mom originally used 20 some odd years ago. They had started to chunk off, and there was some cables inside of there as well, but I was able to remove the old tires. Very messy. It was this thing that was full of carbon black and sticky. So you take all the old tire off and was able to get that off, cleaned off the rim. Okay, could see where where the tire had to go. Ordered 2 tires from Amazon. They came the next day. Like, oh, here are the tires. Like, okay, how do you do this? Well, you got to heat them up like in boiling water, and then you got to stretch it on there before they get cool. They show this guy putting it on with the wheelchair, with the wheel still on the wheelchair. First mistake. Don't do it with the wheel on the wheelchair. Take the wheel off. Put it on from the back. Makes it easier. The other thing I did is I used 2 of my quick grip bar clamps, the big ones, and reversed them into stretchers. So I heated this thing up, not in boiling water. That's overrated. Microwave for a minute. And then put it in the stretcher. And that's a 700 pounds pressure that when it does the stretching. So I stretched out the wheel, and they wanted to use these little cable wraps to hold it as you stretch it around. And they were 8-inch cable wraps, but I kept snapping those things off as I'm trying to pry this thing onto the top. So I ended up going and grabbing my other set of tie wraps. I had some duct tie wraps. They're 24 inches long, 3/8 of an inch wide, and 1/4 inch thick. Use those to keep the tire on the rim while I was trying to stretch it the rest of the way. So instead of it taking another 3 hours that I was trying futilely, I was able to get it done in about a half an hour. And then I could proceed to the second tire. So that's working so far. Okay. And been, like I said, been busy. And I was trying to think, and this laptop had been sitting here for about an extra week when I first installed it. And I said, I really got to get using that other laptop, and I got to migrate my stuff to it. And that's where I came upon the source of my meeting information was how do I want to migrate this nicely, and what options do I have? So let me go ahead and pull that thing up. All right.
I see in the Microsoft Store under Apple, there's an app cost about $1
Uh-huh.
that is called My Wi-Fi Connector. It, might be worth him looking into.
Well, that's like what I bought for my Android phone from years ago when I needed to connect. I've had this app for over 10 years called PDA Net, and originally it was just could be a tether, USB tether, but it'll also work with a hotspot. But I haven't tried it on Windows 11 yet. So this is the subject: plans you can make for a Windows 11 migration. So we all know that some of us are going to be able to get the extended security updates, but that's not quite the same thing of support. That just means they're going to give you an occasional update, and you might be protected. But again, there may be some of them that you're unable to use. And the prep work on this, depends on whether or not you're moving between machines, you're doing it on the same machine, and or are you using OneDrive? So update on the same machine. It's pretty much easy. Okay, you put in the update, same way you would do the upgrade to 22H2 and 24H2. And it would just do the update. Basically, it replaces the OS out from under you, and you're on the newer version, and pretty much everything is there. Although going from 10 to 11, you're going to lose things along the way because it'll hide things the same way it hid for me. The nice thing about an update on the same machine is it may recognize some things you've done under Windows 10 that you need to do under Windows 11, like turn off some of the protection mechanisms in order to use some older drivers. So that's one of the advantages to update on the same machine. But if your machine isn't going to be supported by Windows 11, well, then you're actually going to be moving to another machine at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Using OneDrive. I don't know too many people that are actually OneDrive fans, and they like the fact that OneDrive pulls all your files into the cloud. And unless you've checked the box that said download them all, you lose them every once in a while. Where'd it go? Went off into the cloud. It's hiding it. And it's so easy to turn the OneDrive back on after it's been turned off because you use any sort of the Microsoft utilities and it immediately says, you haven't backed this up on OneDrive. Do you want to back it up now? By clicking that, you just re-enabled OneDrive again and all of your files start disappearing. So,
Yeah.
and OneDrive is not a backup. It's a synchronization tool. Okay, that's the fallacy right there, because they say it's a backup and it's not. Because if you get a file corrupted in one place, it'll happily replicate it everywhere.
Mhm.
So if some compromise comes in on a web browser and it crunches your main database, it'll start spreading that to all the other machines that use OneDrive that share this. And unless one of them is disconnected from the internet, you've lost it. Okay, then there's the old school way to migrate. Making multiple backups on different media so you can recover if needed. You could have file by file using a compressed archive or via external media, TIB files, whatever, cloud or network attached storage. I mean, I made backups on external Seagate drives and on my NAS. Of course, using a backup program, your choice, you might have to get a newer version on the Windows 11 machine, because sometimes that happens where you fire up a machine and it says, I'm sorry, but that only worked on Windows 10. You need to use Windows 11 and you don't have a license for this machine. So you need an upgrade. And then you can do a restore, but you don't want to restore everything because you don't want to restore any of the operating system files. So you'd have to check which ones you wanted to restore. So you pretty much better know where your stuff is at. And the other thing that a lot of people don't like to do too much is clean up and throw out the junk. I mean, I had some stuff on that old machine. I had some old Outlook PST files. Not necessarily PST, but OST files. Those are the operating system files that were actually, I had saved in my personal directory and not down on one of the hidden storage places, data file or something.
Okay, great.
So if you haven't examined your files, you might need something like WinDearStat or equivalent.
Mhm.
WinDearStat's got a really colorful display, but gives you an idea of where all your stuff is stored. So you can get a good idea of how much you got in what places, and you can expand the menu at the top to go deeper, and then you can see where you're saving it. Yes, I got 14 gigabytes of saved mail. Yes. That's in case the cloud goes away and they lost it. But I do have a local copy of it. And I have other things that I've saved as well. But once you've cleaned up, now you can decide what media you have that will support your backup. And you make sure you got enough room, okay? I made, backups to my NAS, and I also did some file by file backups of the areas that I know I was going to save. I knew I needed my documents, pictures, downloads, and my extra disk drive that I had spinning in the other machine that had utilities. This current machine doesn't have room for another drive inside of it unless it's an SSD. So my documents file, it was a little on the chunky side. Yes, there's 70 gigabytes of stuff on there. Most of it is useful. Some of it might be less useful, but if I don't have it, I need to go search for it. It's going to be here. And my additional utility disk has utilities from Windows XP on up. It's kind of handy to have. So I decided I was going to put that on an SSD Lexar RAM disk drive and or a one of these. And it happily went up there as well. So on the new machine, it was a Win 11 24H2 preloaded, and I let it install, and it had to do its initial updates. But then the next thing I did was to turn off BitLocker. So I said, turn off BitLocker and decrypt the drive before I put a lot more stuff on it, because I don't want it to be spending all that time decrypting stuff that I just put on it. Added the printer drivers and the scanner information, sysinternals that I already had developed the techniques for my other Windows 11 machine. So that was relatively easy, and I could copy from machine to machine via my network connection. Put my Microsoft 365 with local copies and Zoom and Chrome and Adobe Reader. Needed some things like Speccy and DLC and Notepad++. So got all those things put together. I could not reach my NAS drive, and I wasn't sure what it was, but then I realized, I was thinking, Windows 11 is probably trying to protect me from all that stuff. So I had to go and find some of those screens that normally can't be shown with easy mechanisms under Windows 11 unless you know their secret name. If you know their secret name, you can control them like a demon. Yes. So use the run command, and this is the turn Windows features on or off with AppWiz. Another one I needed to do was the advanced TCP/IP settings down in the network adapter IPv4 and turning on and allow the net BIOS over TCP/IP so it could find my device. I was able to find it, but I still wasn't able to connect to it quite right. I also needed to do some other things. If you don't have ICMP enabled in V4 or V6, you have to go in and turn them on the inbound and outbound sides of your firewall. Otherwise, you can't ping a device to see if you can see it or not. So I did that, and I turned on some other stuff that it looked like it needed. I had already turned on the SMB 1.1 and 1.0 stuff that was cooking around in the Windows features, and they were turned off. And the other thing that you have to deal with, when you type in when you just can't click on your external device the first time to find it, you got to use on the command line, you got to look for it under its lowercase name and not with a double slash. Hopefully it can resolve it. I could ping it with its name, its lowercase name. And then I put the lowercase name into the network section of Windows Explorer. And then I got the prompt that says, what is the password and the account you want to log into this with? Hallelujah. So I typed that, and I was able to see my files. So once you get it connected, you can download the stuff you wanted. Copying, most of the stuff I copied to the Windows 11 just with regular click, copy, paste. And it updated the directory names, directory files to the same date, which I can deal with. When I originally copied them to the external media, I tried using some of the robocopy commands, but robocopy does not like trying to copy files that came from certain Android machines that have system dates that look like they're 1968, which is before 1970. Which is not too good because Windows attributes start at 1970. So it can't date something before then. And that was some of the issues that Android must have an earlier date that they can do it. Was it 1900 they start with? I don't remember. So anyway, I did a cut and paste, and my folders have new dates. Other strange items. Network displays, looking at other devices. It happened to be able to see all of my Wemo control devices and one of the Rokus, but none of my Tapo devices. I guess the Wemo do support a special port and a HTML command, so you can use an HTTP command with the IP address of the device and on port 49153 and asking it, basically, are you there? And it responds with, yes, I'm here. So that's what that is. This other thing was kind of weird. And it said, under phones, what the heck is a W10P03? And you can do a right click, look at the MAC address. I'm not sure if I have it. No, I have another file here, but I looked at right click at it and it had a MAC address associated, but that MAC address did not look like anything I could find. It was just bogus, I guess, not correctly displayed. What I did do was I went to my router, and my router. Hold on, let's do this. Okay. I went to my router and I saw, oh, I know what that thing is. That's a NixPlay photo screen. Okay. And it didn't have a MAC address, anything close to what it had. So I dealt with it. And these are some of the things. It's only a very few, but it's things that you might need to find if you are doing anything like what Sid's going through or has been going through. System device name screen. That's the original screen. You could do a right click on my computer, network properties, long time ago in Windows XP. Same screen. There's AppWiz, which is like the original. These are your installed apps. And off to the side is turn Windows features on and off. Control, your original control panel. NCPA is a good one. That one is your network devices. So the one they used to do down in the system tray when you right clicked on the network and internet settings, that's what you used to see. It was ncpa.cpl, which showed you your adapters and which one was being used or not used and parameters associated with each one. Device manager, obviously. Event viewer, also obviously. If you ever need to get in, you can still get into those by going to the this computer, right click manage, and get to those screens through the pop up on the console that pops up. System protection properties. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure how many people can even find that without knowing this directly. But that's the one that shows you whether or not you're doing snapshots of your system every time it does an update and saving those restore points. If you don't have it turned on, and the default for Windows 10 was to leave it off, so you didn't have any restore points to go back to. Not exactly fun, but that's basically what I found so far in the short time that I've been actually able to do this. Of course, there was other things that I had to do that are unrelated to the actual migration. One of them is restoring some of the profiles that I had in Chrome for other users and wading through the mire of stuff because, it's not logged in. What was the name? What was the Gmail on that? Oh, it won't let you see it unless you log into it. Trying to figure out. Somewheres I got a Google Workspace account, but I have to figure out how to go back and get into the Google Workspace account to be able to access it and see whether or not I need to have a Chrome profile for it or not. So that is basically that. I will show you the other thing that I have here if I can find it. Let's see, where's the other thing? Yes.
Yep.
Here we go. Okay. So this is the address at the top that was shown. Here's the real MAC address that came out of an ARP-A after I pinged it. Yeah, definitely not even close to each other, and I don't see how one matches the other. Yeah. And let's see, this is where it showed up. So I did a right click on that W10P03 properties, and this is where it shows the MAC address. So it's pulling it out of somewheres that's not right. The other ones on the other devices were correct. It was just this one that was showing as a phone was not. And this is what I got off of my router. I pulled up the router, and there's no way anything looks even similar to it. So, yeah. Yeah, and it does have a second MAC address, but it's not currently being used, so. And that's what that
Shit.
was. Okay, and
See
let me do
logging.
this. I'm going to. No, I need to do chat. There's chat. Chat. All right. See if I can find this file. My computer. All right. No, I do not want System 32. Why would I share a file in System 32? That is just so wrong. All right, there is desktop. There, that's what I want. Open and send. Okay, you all get a copy of the presentation that way. Okay.
You have a couple of people that have their hands raised with questions.
Sure. Yeah, I just saw that. Tim, you had your hand raised.
Giving you a word of warning and advice from a lot of different places I get information from. If you can get away without SMB 1.0, do so. It hasn't been updated for over 15 years, and it goes back originally to the early 2000s.
Mhm.
So definitely that's one. If you can get away without it, do so.
Well, now that I got it working, I can try and turn it off and see if it makes a difference. And then I know how far I have to go to continue to use it. Because now I'm logged into it and I can click on the icon and it automatically, oh, I've saved the password and the account. So I will see if that can turn off. And yes, Bob has his hand. You need to unmute.
Yes, I do. I have a little update on Windows Stat. It has two successors now. One is called WizTree, which is the best one, I think. There's also Tree Size. Those are both freeware,
Mm-hmm.
and they are easily available.
Yep.
Both
I
will
endor-
run under Windows 11 and find.
I have
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
them,
Good.
and I've
Yeah,
had a lot of problems with data redundancy and with phantom files showing up again and again. And they're large, and they cause problems. So I have been able to locate the largest files and the biggest offenders. And let me just simply, since it's not an obvious URL, let me put into chat where you get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I use and endorse WizTree also. There's another program called WizFile, which is by the same people that enables you to search for specific files by name very quickly.
I have one from Void Tools myself that I use is everything. And it does
Everything.
by reading the NTFS index to find it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work
Yeah.
on fat devices, but it
Yeah,
works great on
one thing that's great about everything is if you've looked at the help file, there's there are a series of functions that you can type into the search bar, and one of them is called dupe. And what it will do is find all of the duplicate files that you have across all of your drives.
Interesting. I haven't tried that part of it, but it's really nice because I don't know how many times that I've done something with either photo editing to reduce the size. There's something I'm going to have to download in the Power Toys. There's a Windows like a file size reducer for shrinking things. That's a quick thing and renames it and automatically calls it resized. So I need to do something like that because I'm always using the photo editor and I say, okay, it's resize it to 20% or 25% of its size so I can put it into a Word document and still have enough resolution to see anything you want to see in it, but not make it expand past the edges of the page. Okay, so that would be one
Yeah.
thing to be nice to be able to
Pa-
get
pa-
something there. But it always puts it in some folder that you've used last. And like,
pa-
I don't need it there. I want it in the folder I just loaded the picture from.
yeah. Power Toys has a built-in image resizer, and I
Yeah.
believe that it even integrates itself into File Explorer.
Yes. So
Um,
I need to get those. I haven't gotten them download that yes, Power Toys.
um,
The other
yeah,
thing I'm not sure is any network utilities that I am currently accustomed to using because I'm still one that needs to use things like Telnet and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
TFTP and those kinds of things. And sometimes it's TFTP server time.
Wow, I haven't
Yes.
heard the word TFTP in years and years and years.
If you have
Um,
to support a Cisco device,
Cisco
sometimes,
routers. So
yep.
that's the one and only time that I ever used it was for a Cisco router.
I happen to have a 16 port Cisco switch in the other room. Yes, industrial. Yes, it sucks power. Yes, it's only 100 base T. Yes, but it is Cisco and it's got a command line interface. But sometimes you need something like that if you are going to use VLAN tagging on some of your internet lines. People are going to
Mhm.
say, "What the heck is VLAN tagging?" VLAN tagging is a technique where you can share a link between multiple ports on two different switches or a switch and a router. And the traffic that goes on this port is totally isolated from the other ports. So they can't even see it unless they've been configured to use it.
Mhm. Yep.
Yes. I used to maintain stuff like that. A one of my favorites was an old Cisco 6513. That was a big switch slash MLS router. So it was a router and a switch all built into one. Yes. And it could handle a whole lot of gigabit ports. Yes. Okay. Any other questions we have? Go ahead, Sid. You have to unmute.
Well, not on that, but back to how I got the notebook connected.
Your internet came
Um,
up from Xfinity. No.
it makes you wonder on that stuff. It actually I did two things. I turned on maximum compatibility. But what's weird about turning on maximum compatibility, as soon as you throw that toggle on, it disconnects everything that was connected, which is why I lost my connection to you guys.
Mhm.
As soon as you throw that, you would think it would stay connected because it's maximum connectivity. It should stay connected to the other stuff. But it immediately dropped the iPad as soon as I turned that on. Evidently, it resets stuff when you
Okay.
Yeah.
do that. The other, and then I had to plug it from the lightning connector to USB A. For some reason, the USB C wasn't working. I don't know why. I
It's
have
too
no
new.
clue.
That's an iPhone
Well,
13. Does he even have USB-C then?
no, I know. As I said,
No.
lightning.
Yeah.
No, it was the
Yeah.
lightning on the iPhone. But I had to plug it, use a cable that went into an A port instead of the C port.
Okay.
And then the first thing it did is popped up and asked to trust it, but then it went into sharing folder mode, where it then popped open File Explorer and showed you all the available files, which obviously isn't what I wanted. So I went back into settings, and you'll like this, Ed. What I had to do was shorten the password. The iPhone creates a password that's 4 characters a dash, 4 characters a dash, 4 characters, and so there's 16 characters plus 3 dashes in between.
And
So
the
it's
dashes are
19.
significant, right?
Oh, they're part of the password.
Okay, then now I know have to break. Now I can break any Apple device. I know the format
So
of the password.
so I had to so I took off that last quad, the last
Okay.
dash and last quad, and set that as the password, and that it liked
Hmm.
and connected with it. But it could have told me it didn't like the length, but no, that might be helpful. We don't want to do helpful. That wouldn't be good.
It's
So
Apple
short.
when you know. It's Apple when you know. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, the whole thing is Apple to Apple. You don't ever type that in.
Right.
It's automatically connected. So Apple doesn't care on Apple to Apple because you never type that. It just automatically connects you.
The advantage there
Yeah.
is that Apple controls both the software and the operating system and the hardware. And you only have one kind of hardware. Windows has to span thousands of kinds of hardware. And you're
Yeah.
very lucky it can do anything with phones.
Yeah, yeah. Then I did Drew's thing because Drew was talking about throttling. So I ran a speed test because you asked about that. And I got about 10.9 megabits down and about 12 megabits up. Why up is higher than down, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, connected to Zoom, running the video here and audio. And I'm not getting any stuttering or anything, so it's handling it pretty well. You gotta love Xfinity Comcast. The phone I plugged in the Android. That's the phone number Xfinity has. And before it even charged up to 2%, the phone rang with Xfinity confirming the appointment for tomorrow. How many times they kept cycling to try to get through, I don't know.
boy.
Actually, that call might even have been queued.
And
Yeah.
the other funny thing about it, they give you the choices on the call, but for keep your appointment, there isn't one. It says, and you take no action if it's so basically it keeps repeating the message twice, the whole message, to not hit anything because they're you don't press a key if you want to keep your appointment.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's Comcast for you. That's
It's
Xfinity.
Comcast. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and Comcast just they're in the process of shutting down their email and farming it out to Yahoo.
And I don't know how they're doing that. I have several Comcast accounts, and I got to figure out, are they all just going to map them to Yahoo addresses and you
Yes.
lose the
Yes.
Comcast address?
Yes.
Yes, and you need to take action with Yahoo to set it up.
Mhm.
And if there's anything in the Comcast accounts currently that you still want to keep, you got to transfer it.
You have a limited time to transfer it.
Yes.
Where did you guys hear this? I have not gotten any
In
email.
my Linux
Did
user
for
group.
you, AOL is now dropping dial-up modems.
Yeah, they're doing
you're
it.
gonna get
I
the,
think in
improve.
September.
Yeah.
I think September. I think September is the cutoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in any event, very seriously, Sid, I heard about this through a Linux user group
I
where
got
somebody
an
was complaining
email
about it.
because I have
Yeah.
my Comcast emails forwarding to some of my Yahoo accounts, so I don't miss things like that. And it was sent to my Comcast accounts, and it got forwarded to my other accounts. Like, oh, guess what? We're going to shut this down. I mean, it's kind of a hosed up thing to begin with, but now I got to figure out is there any sort of way that they're going to map your old address to your new one and at least transfer mail until you get everything switched over?
That I
You
don't
have
know.
to you have to keep your eyes out for communication from Comcast, letting you know when your migration is going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, I was on a meeting earlier today where people were on a network called Cox Internet Service,
Mm-hmm.
and they are moving to Yahoo as well.
Yeah.
And there were a few people that were having some issues, and I can put it in the chat. I downloaded a link that has the uh, all of the Outlook or Thunderbird settings that you would need to connect your Yahoo account.
I already have a Yahoo account, a free Yahoo account. I think this one's going to be the upgraded one, the Pro.
Yeah, it should be.
Well,
And so so they may not read as much of your email and put it up as AI, or maybe they'll do more of that.
Yeah, yeah.
This whole
That's
thing with
that's
the email um, with the ISP, this is one of the reasons I never used the ISP email accounts ever.
well, I used to have a free one, but then I switched over and made it paid because had too much stuff in there. The free one gives you 20 gigabytes of storage, which should be most for most people. I'm not sure which one that mine still has because I have a paid Yahoo subscription. They used to advertise a terabyte, but since there was no file storage, how are you ever going to use a terabyte with just email? Be kind of hard,
You would
but
have
I
to
assume
go a
some people could do it.
lifetime.
Yeah, over a lifetime, maybe. I do have some emails that go back, geez, 2006.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about going back to birth.
They didn't have email then, Tim.
Uh huh.
I know that for a fact.
Well, that's the only way
Uh,
you're going to use up a terabyte.
yeah. So
I'm
if
not
you,
I
sure.
go ahead.
Yahoo does have a thing called Mail Notes. You can save a lot of notes. I know
Okay.
somebody who really used up a lot of storage by saving notes about some kind of a streaming series that he was watching that had several seasons and 13 episodes per season and notes on every episode. Ran out of storage.
Hmm. The
That's the only case I know of.
Wow. Um, so if any of you order stuff from other countries like China or Europe or other places, something has just happened that will change a lot of any of the things you've ordered. They no longer allow de minimis. And if you want to know what de minimis is, that was the personal exemption that you had for anything less than $800 was
Oh,
not required to have any tariffs associated with it or taxes, additional customs duties on it. So de minimis just went away yesterday, day before, I'm not sure,
something like that.
recently. I had ordered several things and I was wondering, oh, is it going to get hit by de minimis? Am I going to get it here before de minimis hits? And I'm watching the tracking numbers from these things. I mean, one of the things was some drugs that I ordered from Canada, but shipped from New Zealand. So I don't know how they would have ever handled that. But they have also warned that de minimis is going away in an email to me. And if you ordered now, we could get it in under the wire. And I said, no, I just got my supply. I'm just going to have to find something to do when I actually have to do it. Anyhow, this is one of the things that I actually did order, and I ordered it from Elector, which is in, I think, Germany. But it basically is it's made in China. Okay, so I don't know which tariff would apply here. Shipped from Germany, but it's made in China. So you tell me which one it is. So this is a infrared binocular 4K resolution with digital zoom. So it's an interesting package, And these are the pictures. I mean, I could bring it out of its nice little case. Came with a 32 gig SD card as well, which I was really surprised. So they had everything I needed on it. And it actually does pretty good on the infrared, but its normal photo capability is the resolution is 24 bits, 8,000 by 4,500. So it definitely has the capabilities. Let me switch the share here, and I'll show you one of the pictures.
So how large is each image at that resolution?
It's like about 8 meg, 8 meg. Is it 8 meg? Is that what it was? Yes, 8 meg, I think. That's probably
Okay.
it. Yeah. So it's 36 megapixels. So, but the nice thing about it is you can keep on magnifying until you finally get down to, now you're starting to see the grainy, but this was taken from about 10 feet away. Yeah.
I see you've been feeding the squirrels well.
Oh, yes, yes. I feed those squirrels well. Yeah. I don't have any of the infrared pictures on here as well. But the infrared, it's got a couple settings on it that you can, it's got an illuminator as well as the actual sensor. So there's the end of it. One side is an illuminator. I'm not sure if I turn it on, if it will show the, I can get it to go to infrared mode, if it will light up on this display or not. Let's do, let's see, I think it's this
Say
one.
Google was right twice.
And there. There's infrared. Yeah, see how it's illuminating? Yes. That's how you can see infrared with normal cameras. When they turn on an infrared illuminator, like if you wanted to check to see if a remote control that's infrared is working, they'll use your phone camera. Take a look at it and push the buttons. And if you see a little white flashing, that's the camera reacting to the infrared, because almost all digital cameras and phone cameras are sensitive to near infrared. So, oh yes, my remote control is working. It's got batteries. But I do have some varmints that happen to go through my neck of the woods, and every once in a while I want to know, is that skunk that I smell still outside somewheres? Yes. Any questions about any of the stuff we had in the presentation?
Well, I can just, as one thing, I can attest to the fact that the free version of Macrium works fine on Windows 11. You can create an image, you can mount it, you can extract files from it, and it works fine.
Good. All right. I may try that. And
Since-
does it have a nag option that keeps nagging you about it, or no?
No, nothing.
Oh, good.
since you have the System 32 commands that you like using, and I do too, so I'm in the same boat. Somebody, I think within the last year or so, Nat, created a graphical user interface program for the System 32 tools for people who do not want to know anything about command line and execute some of the same programs.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you happen to remember the name of that, do you?
No, I have to look it up, Nat, and I'll send you information.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Well, it'll be interesting because I have not put Firefox on here. I know that I have used my other machine with Firefox and going back and resetting some of the TLS handshakes so I could talk to one of our older um, access card reader controllers. And it only works with Firefox and TLS 1.0 or 1.1, I think, and it's up to 1.2, so you can't use Chrome, and Chrome won't let you go back. But I needed to use it one more time so I can upload new firmware to that panel. And once I get the firmware into the panel, then I can tell it, and it will start using Chrome exclusively from that point on. But I got to get it upgraded from 5.0.20 to 6.0.5.29. Fun. That and other things that take my time as well. I happen to have any of you familiar with fire alarm panels? All shaking heads no. Well, we happen to have an old fire alarm panel called an AFP 200 notifier. It seems that when the testing group that came out to test all of our smoke detectors from whatever they were doing happened to damage the AFP 200, which blew out the input. And as a result, it can't read any sensors from any of our fire alarm smoke detectors. Okay, so what is my options? Well, I had a contract with a different company because the people that did this are not official notifier vendors or dealers, authorized dealers. So they can't legally buy the parts or install them and have a warranty associated with it. So they would have to have a third party come out and fix it. So I went and contracted with another company, and they have a less expensive quote. The guy broke it, but they still quoted me 13 grand to fix it. So I thought, nah, this isn't going to work. So I found another guy that'll do it for much less. And I'm going to probably have him, and it goes to a new panel. It's an NFS 320 notifier, which does have some network capabilities, but I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to be able to access it with my laptop, or if that only uses their specific protocol and programs, and I'm going to have to go bring an old XP laptop out there and Wireshark and and snoop everything that goes back and forth between the Wi-Fi and that device, and break the encryption that way. But we'll see. But that's one of the things that'll probably be on my docket coming up. Any other things that people would like me to look into for new presentations?
Uh, hmm. Trying to think.
If anybody's got a thought of something that they haven't seen or they wanted to see something on, I'm offering to look into it. I mean, I've done other things. I suppose I could even rerun one or two of them on occasion, but we might have a different presentation though.
The only thing I can think of is I recently upgraded my Windows 10 Home to Pro, in part so I could use the sandbox, but more so I could use the virtual machine. And I really like it having the sandbox.
Uh-huh. I know that and Sid's not here, but Sid normally has been a fan of Sandboxy.
I use Sandboxy also.
Okay.
So did
All right.
I, but I stopped using it years ago.
But I can, Sandboxy has persistence, so you can install apps and they stick around. The Windows Sandbox, once you shut it down, everything goes away.
Yeah. I mean, I've used VirtualBox back before they had some of the virtualization built into the kernel. So it was a little bit slower, but I could run it in much smaller machines. I haven't tried to see what VirtualBox or virtual or Hyper-V will do on this machine, which does support with this processor the Hyper-V extensions. So,
Well, the
yeah,
the main reason that I use it now is Macrium Reflect, the version that's free. When you install it on the very first screen, there's an option to enable a feature that's not there by default, and it's a virtual machine creator. And what it enables you to do is you image your Windows C drive, and then you run this tool, and it creates a Microsoft Hyper-V compatible virtual machine from the image that it took of your C drive.
yeah.
And it boots up and it runs just like your machine, like a regular Windows machine. It's really cool.
I've seen similar programs that were part of system internals. They had a program, but it had a limitation. It could only do a C drive who was under 128 gigabytes.
Yeah, sysinternals does have a utility that lets
Yeah.
you image your disk, but the regular Macrium Reflect free edition
Mhm.
can be mounted as a Microsoft drive. And in fact, I looked up on ChatGPT and got instructions. VirtualBox
Mhm.
comes with a command line utility that lets you take the Microsoft. You go into the Microsoft and you export the hard drive to a file,
Yes.
and then VirtualBox comes with a command line utility that converts it into a VirtualBox disk.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that with VHDs before, where you could convert a backup into a VHD and mount the VHD in a virtual machine. So that way, on my Windows 7 machine, I was able to run this old Windows 98 image in a virtual machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sid, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I did. I don't know what happened. The reason I was going was it lost its connection and just disconnected, and it wouldn't reconnect. It said unable to connect. And all I did then was go into personal hotspot, turn off maximum compatibility, and immediately turn it on again. And then it connected again.
I don't know. Maybe your Verizon is trying to shut you down.
Yeah.
We're going to simulate the cell breathing.
I have no idea. Meanwhile, I looked at my email, my box from Comcast. There's nothing there about any changes.
They are rolling it out in phases.
Yes.
Different users will get notified at different times. I have no notice either. I did have a general notice that this change was taking place.
I'm surprised they didn't do a deal with Google, but hey.
I'm not surprised. These
Maybe it
ISPs
was
almost
your-
all choose Yahoo.
Yeah.
And you know, earlier, Ed, you were talking about changes over. I have a couple Yahoo emails back when I had Cablevision, back when I was in Niles over a decade ago, and those accounts are still active from Cablevision.
Here, I will show you the email that I got. Yeah, and they're trying to push it a little bit. Okay. This was sent to my edward.keating@comcast.net. Yes, I do have that address.
I like the exciting changes.
Yeah, we're going to put it in purple and black for you. That's just one step away from black and blue. You know what that's saying? Here's my email addresses. I have a bunch of them here. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my email addresses are going to be impacted because this is the recovery email for those ones. That's why they sent it here. So in the next 30 days, I'll receive another email that will prompt you to sign on to Xfinity Connect email Comcast.net to accept Yahoo's terms of service and complete your move.
Yeah.
And I have 120 days to accept them. Now, this one says my email address will not change.
Right.
So that means they're going to just take over and filter and forward all of the mail requests to Yahoo, so they'll be able to respond.
That is correct.
So,
It'll be,
and I'll just set up a bunch of accounts for these, so I'll have some more accounts to play with as well.
it'll be Comcast mail powered by Yahoo.
And I wonder where the spam will come for there.
Oh, you'll get spam from everywhere now.
Well, the thing is my Edward.Keating at Comcast, at Yahoo, in fact, is actually an alias because the real one was before they allowed periods in names.
Mhm.
But I have the Pro, so I can filter certain websites. So if I get spam from some site, I can carve off the name and say, block this domain. I still get spam. Trust me, there's a lot there. Yes.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Where's the excitement, Ed?
Go ahead.
It said exciting changes. I didn't see anywhere in that email what exciting changes were
Exciting
coming.
changes is
We're
you'll
sending
have.
you over to Yahoo.
Here's your
it
exciting
didn't-
change. You'll have email that works.
Well,
No,
they didn't.
Yahoo email has been getting more and more broken. And
They didn't say. They
less
didn't,
and less usable.
Have you used the Comcast browser interface on an Android phone?
Yeah, I know. They're horrible.
It's
Yeah.
just ugly.
They didn't say who it was exciting for. And
it's exciting because we don't have to support you anymore.
Well, I
it's
guess a
exciting
lot
to
of
them
frust-
because they get to lay off all the support staff.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of frustration is excitement of a kind.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's the wrong kind of
It's
excitement.
very exciting to get frustrated and angry.
It's like exciting, like I'm a member of a riot. Exciting.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've got AI bots now that if you try to contact them, they just send you around in circles.
Well, they used to
You
do that
never get
anyway.
connected.
They had people to do that in circles. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
we,
now
we
they've
really
got
want to try and solve your problem. If I try and get a credit from Comcast, forget it. It's impossible now. The only way you can get their
it's been
attention,
impossible for a while.
yeah, there's only one way to get their attention is threaten to leave. Tell them, oh, I can get Google Fiber at home. I can't, but they could advertise it.
Well, when
I'll
I
check.
made my move, I finally got them to pay what they owed me from an overpayment on the previous account.
Oh, that's
It was
good.
a lot easier than one of my utility companies.
That's true. Yeah. Utility
But
companies, when they have your money, I'm sorry, we'll just give you an extra couple hundred kilowatts. Oh, you're not at that address anymore.
Yeah, it was basically about that.
Yeah.
And the bad part about it was all due to a change in state regulation that forced them into a refund. Otherwise, everything would have been I needed to pay them.
I have many
Anyway.
years ago, my daughter, who was very lax. This is my middle daughter. She's rather lax at responding to things within a timely period of time. She had a new 2006 Prius, relatively new. And she got a done letter from the city of Long Beach parking garage that said that she had a parking violation that was overdue. And they continued to send done. You could not contact them on the phone. They would only respond if you faxed something to them. There was no email address for this, or snail mail. And you had said, I tried to explain to them, my daughter does not have a Toyota. She has a Prius. You've identified that it was a Toyota Corolla that got this violation, but they refused to listen to it. And they kept on cranking the amount of the fine up. And I said, Nadine, you got to get a hold of them and tell them, that you got the wrong person. and respond, and she didn't, and went too late, and then it started to go to collection. And it was it was started at $45 and it was now up to 150. Finally, I ended up raising a complaint with our Secretary of State, Illinois, at the time was Amy Madigan. And she contacted the California Secretary of State. And then it went downhill until it got to the Long Beach parking garage. They sent me a thing, oh, you don't owe us anything.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, they wanted us to pay it and then they would reimburse you after. Yeah, right. I believe that, just like I believe government is fair. But I was trying to explain to him, my daughter's mileage on her car means she couldn't even drive to Long Beach and get the ticket because she's not driven that many miles. Yeah, it's farther away than she's driven totally in the car. Yeah. But then they finally, whatever they did, they finally got the right person, I guess. They must have mistyped the plate number when they read and they did the violation, transposed digits or something. Who knows what they did? They didn't take pictures of it back then. So you could say, here's the picture of your plate and your violation. Yeah. Now they're getting a little smarter and they take your picture when you violate something and said, is this you? That looks like your face in here. AI has determined it's you, but it's a younger you. Interesting things. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what AI decides to do with some of these things as we get more and more things moving to the AI realm to do things for you. Copilot notwithstanding, I'm surprised I do have a Copilot button on this machine. I don't think I have enough storage to support Copilot to do much of anything, but I'm sure there's a Microsoft server with my name on it somewheres where they're planning to.
Well,
They said,
Copilot comes with 10 and 11. It's just a case where it's all in the cloud.
yeah,
But you also have to sign in if you're not already signed in.
well, I'm not sure because it's probably linked to my Microsoft account. That is one thing I did do with this Windows 11 machine that I haven't done on other Windows 11 machines. I did not do it as a local account. I finally bought the bullet and said, I will use my Microsoft account and it'll be happier that way. But I know recently with the OneDrive type of stuff where it gets turned on inadvertently, I helped set up some gentleman's OneDrive with his new Windows 11 machine, and I turned off all of the OneDrive stuff. It was all off. But then he must have done something and it said, you need to back up this file to OneDrive and clicked yes somewheres because all of a sudden his file started disappearing off of his desktop. And the one thing you can do with the old OneDrive, even though all of your stuff is turned off, if you go into settings, all right, let's do this. I'll do a share here. All right, share. You can manage your backup, make sure all of these things are turned off. And it says I'm using 8.2 because I got Outlook email. So yes, I'm using it. So the important thing is go down to advanced settings, go down to download all files. If you leave the download all files clicked, and that way it's not putting stuff up and then making it disappear off your file. I think that will keep the files on his machine. It'll make a backup for him up on the shared OneDrive, but he doesn't have any other OneDrive access to that thing, and maybe it'll be okay for him. I'm not sure. But he turned off all these things up here, basically turned to manage backup. He started turning these things off after it already had stolen all of his stuff, and I can't find my desktop. It's all gone. And he said, well, there's another thing you can use to defeat OneDrive, keep it from doing some of this stuff. Put the files you want to save in downloads. OneDrive does not touch downloads. It will not share things from downloads. It won't try and save them. So, I mean, if you have a link in something else that points to downloads, I don't know if it would try and save that or not. But normally there's no checkbox for downloads. Documents, pictures, other locations, but not downloads. So that's one place to save stuff too. Let's do this. Let's do a save. Good. Yes, Bert.
Something I came across has to do with Copilot. And
Okay.
Where I was doing some things in Excel, and it did one line, and then you copied it down to do 10 more. That uses 10 Copilot management access items.
What?
In other words, yeah, it's not, you have to be very careful what you do, because if you just scroll down to fill in more lines, an example would be that if you're entitled to 6 items a day, you've now exceeded it
Oh, wonderful.
without you knowing it.
Are you doing the history or something?
No,
You're
just
not
a
saving your
spreadsheet.
display history or anything like that, are you? No?
No, this is just making a spreadsheet. I was testing different things.
Uh-huh.
It came across the fact that it uses every time you copy down. Now, if you copy the whole array, that's one copy. But if you
Yeah.
copy line by line by pulling it down, that's separate copies.
Uh-huh.
And if you look in your Microsoft account, it tells you how many Copilot uses you had.
Oh, wonderful. I hope it doesn't. Is that an option to link Copilot to whatever you're doing?
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, because I do a lot of stuff in Word, and I haven't done as much in Excel on this particular machine. But I'm going to check.
Basically, it's just, it's only because you get to a point where you got so many free ones, and then you're going to start charging you.
Yes.
So I thought I should make people aware of that.
Yeah. Okay. This one was last changed when? 8/19. That's the one I want. Okay, good. All right. And I don't need it full screen. Thank you. Okay.
So basically, check your account to see how much you're using.
View, find anything anywhere. Yes, I'm going to have to do this because I do a lot of, I'll copy a line and paste it. And that's going to trigger a Copilot thing? I hope not.
If where you're pasting it to is still connected to the Copilot, if you copy it to a different worksheet that wasn't in Copilot,
Uh-huh.
then you'd be okay.
Well, I'm
That's-
just using I just use spreadsheets that are on my local hard drive, not on OneDrive.
Well, if you're using, like when you create a spreadsheet, and you can have automatically save, which really goes to OneDrive. It basically says, if you want it, you get an answer from Copilot.
Uh-huh.
If you're clicking on a page that it says it's connected to automatically save, when it gives you the answer, you can have an option to click and have it put the answer into your spreadsheet.
Okay. Oh, all right. So I'm not asking Copilot. I have seen it pop up occasionally, but I wasn't sure. If I click the Copilot, is it going to tell me something says you have exceeded your uses for the day? No, it's not going to tell me anything.
That's why you have to look at your account.
It's looking at something that I did a long time ago, trying to find out who to talk to about an HP sales tax exemption on a computer I bought for our church. Like, how long is it supposed to be before I get it refunded? It took literally months to get refunded for the non-taxable item. Yeah. All
Well,
right.
there's all kinds of issues in being non-taxable for purchases, to make sure that you're filed with the state to be non-taxable, which
Well, I
sometimes
sent them the official documents, the Illinois sales tax exemption form from the state of Illinois. Sent them that. I also sent them a 501c3 document that dated from 1974. Yes, so
But
I do
right
not
now,
have.
there's a new rule
Okay.
that says you have to, if you may be subject to filing an audit for that nonprofit unless you can show it's de minimis.
Well, this is a church, so we are under the United Methodist Church. So I don't think they're going to go too much after that. Yes.
Well, yeah, a nonprofit is a nonprofit. Churches have some extra rules, but
Yeah. And we are both registered with the 501c3, and we're also a non-for-profit corporation in the state of Illinois.
yeah, the difference is they passed a new rule that people need a certified audit
Mhm.
for nonprofits, not necessarily for what
Well, I'm not, like I said, we have to report all of our numbers to our conference. So the Northern Illinois Conference has a statistical reporting, and we report all that information. And I think that's how they cover the fact that that's the audit.
well, it's because some nonprofits didn't follow the rules, so they passed more laws to catch them.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I do know that the IRS, you can't get a hold of at all to do anything now. They were complaining because I believe they erroneously tried to consider the COVID loans that were absolved. We have the information from the bank that says, yes, you satisfied the COVID loan and you don't have to pay it back because you used it to pay salaries for the people that were supposed to be covered by it. So I have all the documentation from the bank, but somehow the government still thinks that they want another portion of that. Oh, you should have paid taxes on it. You should pay this much on this. And it's in thousands of dollars. Yes. Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
But we've turned it over to an accountant to do it for us. And he's tried to get a hold of the IRS for some of these things. And we said, wait until they send you another document. You know, they've moved us from one IRS center to the one in Ohio. Said, oh, this will be the new one that does all your correspondence. We're not ready to get back to you yet. We're not ready to get back. You're still not ready to get back to you yet. So when they're ready to get back, then we'll see what happens.
Or if they file a lien first.
They talked about it. I don't know what they're going to file a lien against. Okay, I give you a brick out of the church. They talked about it, but then we responded and said, hey, you know, we got documentation that says otherwise. When you want to talk to us, and like I said, and they complained about the attorney. Oh, we don't have any record of the attorney being authorized. And I sent another copy of the power of attorney to the attorney to send it to the IRS that said, yes, he did sign this already. Here's another copy of it. Talk to us.
Well, of course, they've changed heads of the IRS every couple months lately. So
Yeah. And now there's probably a Doge guy in charge.
What?
world keeps evolving.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, well, if there's no other questions here, give you a last chance. And if not, then I guess we'll see you next month. I need